On this video, we're going to do top 5 V8 cars that are actually fast and probably won't bankrupt you. And the number one on this list is going to make so many people angry that I'm definitely getting roasted down in the comments. Welcome to Off Camber. If you've been on Facebook Marketplace recently, you know the deal here. You go to the filter section, you click V8, you click manual transmission, and next thing you know, you're looking at $30,000 cars for a weekend toy. Who has $30,000 to spend on a weekend toy? I personally like the junk. I like stuff that needs a little bit of love here and there to fix. I don't know about you, but it's kind of what my whole life revolves around, at least with cars. So today, I dug deep into the Facebook Marketplace abyss. I found 5 cars from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s that you can realistically get for under $15,000 that are all nearing 300 horsepower. But I'm not just going to list them out and be like, hey, we're done. Thanks. See you later. Thanks for the click. Nope. I'm going to tell you what age range to buy, what are the best years. I'm going to tell you the thing that is absolutely going to break on you so you can budget for that. And I'm going to tell you where to spend the first $1,000 to get the most bang for your buck for performance. So number 5 on the list, the 1993 to 1998 Lincoln Mark 8. This is a cheat code. Yeah, sure. It's a luxury barge, and it's probably something you're going to get off the guy whose kids told him he can no longer drive to bingo. But the thing shares its DNA with a Mustang Cobra. You get a 4.6 liter, 32 valve, dual overhead cam V8 engine that makes damn near 300 horsepower in stock form. However, you're probably going to find most of them in some type of champagne gold color with maybe a tan leather interior. All right, the golden year to look for here is the 93 to 96 model. It's the Gen 1, but it's probably the best looking front end they came with. But what we're really looking at here is the engine block. It uses what's called a Texid aluminum engine block, and this is the one that they used for the Mustang Cobras. It is arguably the strongest modular block that Ford ever made. Okay, here's the reality of them and why they're so cheap on Marketplace. The air ride breaks. It's not if it's going to break, it's when the air ride is going to fail. We've all seen them slam to the ground, right? It's not hard to fix, but it's going to fail and you're going to have to replace it. Also, the transmission's decent on them. It's a 4R70W, but the accumulator springs on 1 and 2 have a tendency to break. So if you get into one and it shifts weird, that's the problem. All right, first 3 things to do to them for $1,000. 1, unfortunately, it's maintenance to this car. Don't repair the air ride, just replace it. You can find suspension kits out there for like $750 at the time of the video. If you got a little bit more to spend, I would recommend coilover so you get that stance just the way you want it. Then I would do what's called the J-mod to the transmission. That's a valve body modification that'll make the thing shift a little bit sharper and actually make it behave a little bit better. Finally, take it down to your local exhaust shop, cut the mid-muffler back off, and just put a nice piece of tubing on there with a good set of mufflers. These cars sound amazing when you uncork them. It really is a shame that they never gave this drivetrain to the Thunderbird because it's a lot better looking vehicle. Now the Lincoln landed number 5 because it's so damn ugly, but it is a sleeper. My pitch for number 4 is the Lexus SC400, 1992 to 2000. We'll narrow that down a little bit in a second, but that's the years they were made. This is a Japanese muscle car, and the 1UZ-FE is a legendary V8 for a reason. It is torquey, over-designed, and sounds fantastic when you open the thing up. The downside to these cars is they only came in an automatic transmission. The upside to that is that you can use the CD09 transmission at a 350Z, and those transmissions will hold upward of 800-900 horsepower. And if you decide to throw a turbo on the 1UZ, which will also very easily go to 750, you got yourself a winning combination. All right, so the years to hunt for on these ones are the 98 to 2000 model years. And that's because they got the VVTi engine, and it upped the power from 250 horsepower to 290 horsepower. It also upped it to a 5-speed auto transmission versus a 4-speed, so that'll work out the gearing a little bit better, give it a little bit of acceleration because everything got shorter. And if you've got to wait for a manual transmission swap for a while, there you go. So the reality of these things, and what's the annoying part of owning them, is that they have a couple of weird things in the engine bay. So the power steering pump sits directly on top of the alternator. So when the power steering pump goes out and starts leaking, which it will eventually, it's going to drip on the alternator and have the alternator fail as well. Also, the starter is located under the intake manifold. That means if you've got to change the starter, you've got to pull the top half of the engine apart. So that's weird. I got a question for you. If a V8 car only comes in an automatic. Is it still a muscle car? I might be looking at you, third gen Trans Ams. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. All right, first $1,000 you should spend on modifications. This thing is so quiet that you could drive it through a library at full wide open throttle and have nobody say a word to you. You need an exhaust system on this thing just about immediately to hear it. The rest of the money, refresh the suspension. If you can afford coilovers, do it. I know they're generally not under $1,000, but you can do shock springs. But definitely go through all the bushings. It's an old enough car that you tighten up the bushings on this thing and put a nice suspension on it, you got a winner. Throw the right wheels on it, fantastic. Manual swap and throw a turbo on it, you got yourself a killer. What? You again? Hang on a second. Are you still watching and you haven't hit subscribe? Look, I'm doing coilovers, I'm doing bushings, I'm doing control arms. I'm doing all this for you and you haven't hit subscribe for me? Come on, man. Go down there. I think it's over in this corner right here. Hit subscribe. It's free. What's it going to hurt? All right. Sorry to interrupt. Back to the video. Number 3 on the list. Number 3 on the list. The C4 Corvette. Yes. Does not get any respect. Everybody hates them. They forget they exist. But the 92 to 96 cars had a 300 horsepower LT1 and a 6-speed transmission. And they handle better than everything else on this list. The golden years to hunt in these are the 92 to 96 models. Ignore the 80s cars. They came with a 4+3 transmission, which was really weird. Unless, of course, you want the digital gauges, which were pretty cool because then you're like, oh, I'm in the Night 3000. Kit, come rescue me. I don't know, something. Even though that was a Trans Am. But the 92 to 96 gives you the LT1, which is 300 horsepower from the factory, and it gives you that ZF 6-speed. Plus, they had a little bit updated exteriors with the rounded taillights and the rounded front ends, which were from the ZR1s in '89. And then moving forward, they transferred all of that over in the later models, which looks cool. Plus, the wheels are better. Fight me. The nightmare situation with these things, and the reality of it, is one word: OptiSpark. The distributor is right on the front of the engine, located right behind the water pump. When the water pump fails, it also ruins the distributor. Now that wouldn't be a terrible thing, but they're incredibly hard to work on. Generally a pain in the ass. It also seems weird that you would put electricity next to water. I thought they told us not to bring our hair dryers in the bathtubs. It is in fact the Achilles heel though of the LT1. First $1,000, let's be honest, we're going to lower it. You get lowering kits for them, which are basically bolts that lower the car. Then you want to go ahead and open that exhaust up so you can hear that sweet LT1 music. And then probably save for tires. Because I don't know about you, with a wide open exhaust like that, I'm doing tons of burnouts. Right in front of my HOA president's house. Number 2 on the list is the 4th gen Camaro. They call them the Catfish because of the big wide mouth open fronts. If you want raw speed per dollar, this is the king. The 4th gen F-Body is fast, cheap, and horrifically ugly. It's the perfect combination of things. I don't know why I put the 4th finger up. The golden years to hunt for this one are the 1998 to 2002. They punted the LT1 in favor of the LS1. Comes with 300 horsepower from the factory. Plus, the LS1 is like the god of all motors. It makes way more power than it advertises, and the aftermarket is infinite for these things. Plus, you put a hog-ass cam and a set of heads on these things, and they make insane amounts of power. The nightmare-wrenching reality of these is that the spark plugs are tucked back under the dashboard somewhere. In order to actually change them without having to get into some weird position, you have to have the hands of a child and the patience of a saint. On top of that, they have the infamous 10-bolt rear end, which is made of glass. If you put a set of sticky tires on it and try and launch it, everybody at the drag strip is going to be pissed at you because you're going to leave the entire rear end scattered all over the lane. All right, first $1,000. These things are a floppy mess. The chassis is made out of wet noodles, I think. And so you're going to want subframe connectors. Put subframe connectors on it, put an air lid intake and a catback exhaust. You're going to make 30 more horsepower, and the camber's not going to change on you when you make a right turn. The number 1 car on this list, and the one that I'm going to get chastised for down in the comments, is the 1999 to 2004 Mustang GT. It's definitely not the fastest car in the group. It's definitely not the rarest car in the group. But is that what we're really looking for? It is, in fact, the most fun you can have for the money, though. Plus, the 4.6 liter 2-valve sounds better than the LS. Fight me. Fight me. Down in the comments. Let's go. Not to mention, it looks way better than the Catfish Camaros. It does. If you're looking for one of these cars, look for the 2002 to 2004. They worked out a lot of the little kinks. Plus, you get the TR3650 transmission, which is a little bit better than the T45. The nightmare situation as far as wrenching goes is that these things have a couple of issues. The intake manifold, it's made from kids' toys. It's plastic. The coolant crossover at the front, it's known to crack and dump coolant everywhere. So maybe look for one that has the updated aluminum coolant crossover. And the final super secret surprise for you that I saved for last because of the type of guy I am is on the early heads, the spark plugs will just shoot out of these things. Why? They didn't have enough threads on them. Thanks, Ford. Or a recipe for the first $1,000 to get some performance, don't touch the engine just yet. Swap the gears. The gears that come with these things are way too long, and it just kind of kills these things. You get a lot more performance out of it if you swap a set of 410s or 373s in it. It's going to get you way more than you ever would adding 50 horsepower, and they're abundant. You can find them all over the place online. Top that off with a nice H-pipe and some mufflers, and you got yourself a nice sounding vehicle. Well, that's it. That's the list. 5 cars, 5 headaches, 5 V8 experiences that you can go out and do for under $15,000. To be honest with you, doing all the research for this made me want to go look for an SC400 that I can manual swap. That would be pretty cool. Or a New Edge Mustang. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments, particularly the Mustang and the Camaro guys. Who actually wins this budget race? If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, like us, and go down in the comments and leave a couple of comments for us. We've got some updates coming on the Miata here pretty quick, and I'm heading out on Thursday to go to the Danger Ranger race and get that Ranger back on the track. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you came. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and hopefully we'll see you next time on Off Camber.